After a win in Ames last weekend, the Sooners return home to Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium for their first meeting since 1961 with the United States Military Academy. Army West Point comes in running a 2-game winning streak after a win last week over Hawaii. Hello, thank you so much for joining us alongside former NFL Super Bowl champion Gary Reasons. I'm Brendan Burke. Well, we've got a throwback for you tonight. We've got to throw you all the way back to the 1940s for a good old Oklahoma Army showdown.
Well, this is a couple of teams that they both are storied programs, no doubt about that. Multiple national championships. They've also got Heisman Trophy winners. But tonight we're talking about two teams. One is the most explosive offense in college football, and one gets it done a little differently on the ground. We'll talk about both of them.
Well, that most explosive offense is led by Kyler Murray. What has he done that's impressed you so much early this season?
Well, he has done a tremendous job of leading this offense, and he does everything well. Most importantly, he's a quarterback. He has to throw it well. He's got very accurate passing. He does a great job getting it to his receivers, and that's what's really impressive about him. Secondly, he's got to be able to run that spread option attack, and he does that effortlessly, and he has wheels. He can run and go. And thirdly, they actually moved the launch point for him. He's not a tall guy, but still accuracy out of the pocket. He's one of the most dynamic players in all of college football.
Well, Kyler Murray's been the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week for each of the last 2 weeks. This is the start of a home-and-home series between Army and Oklahoma. Number 5 Oklahoma kicks it off in Norman. New contract to keep him part of Oklahoma through the 2023 season. This is fielded at the goal line and a chance to return for Redley Hiles, and he's taken down after crossing the 30. That's a 31-yard return for the freshman. Well, Kyler Murray has certainly put himself in the early season Heisman talks after the first 3 weeks. Last week was the first time this season he needed to play an entire game, and also the first game without running back Rodney Anderson, and he was spectacular against Iowa State. Threw for 348 yards and a touchdown, and for the second consecutive week, led the Sooners in rushing and was named the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week for the second straight time.
He just looks like he's having fun out there. He had a lot of fun last week against Iowa State. A good competitive ball game, but he did a lot in that football game. He did what his team needed him to do to win that contest.
Trey Sermon in the backfield, and he gets the first carry of the game and bumps it out right to the 35-yard line. 3 yards on the play. Elijah Riley with the first tackle of the football game.
Well, it's going to play downhill on this defensive front here for Army. Oklahoma's got a much bigger offensive line, going to roll, I think, pretty easily against this Army defense. If they can run the football and get some holes open, I think this running game could look good tonight for the Sooners.
First passing play for Kyler Murray with lots of time and lots of room for Grant Calcaterra. All the way down to the 33-yard line.
Well, a nice chunk play, explosive play early in the ball game. Get Calcaterra out. He's just doing a little crossing route here from the backside and wide open. They do not account for him on the defensive side of the ball. That's a huge play here. This first opening series for the Sooners.
First pass for Murray goes 33 yards and puts OU into Army territory. And Sermon into a pile and moves that pile. Got 9 on the play. An impressive run for Trey Sermon, the sophomore.
Well, when we're used to talking about explosive plays, we're usually talking about this guy here, number 5, Marquise Brown, and what he's done. 10 catches over 50 yards since 2017. That's an impressive number. Look for him to stretch the field and be a key player in the deep secondary of the Black Knights.
Marquise Brown, tonight's Travis Watkins, key player for Oklahoma. They gave Sermon 10 on that carry, and so they moved the chains. It's first down for Oklahoma from the 22-yard line. Sermon again. Bounces to the outside and just tripped up by Max Regan at the last moment. A touchdown-saving tackle for Max Regan.
Well, a shoestring tackle here. Otherwise, Sermon's going to get this to the house. Regan from his free safety spot doing a good job of getting out there on the speedy runner. This Oklahoma team is doing it on the ground and in the air.
On 2nd and 1. They'll keep feeding him. He will get the first down for running into James Nautigal.
Well, for Army and the Black Knights, I think that their defensive end / linebacker, rush linebacker, Kenneth Brinson's going to have to show up big here. And he's going to be a key player for them because he's got some tools. When you look at him, he's not your atypical type football player. He's a big-bodied guy with a lot of skill and athleticism. Look for him to try to wreak havoc in that Sooner offensive backfield.
That's tonight's Travis Watkins, key player for Army. OU in the red zone, 12 for 12 in the red zone this season with 9 touchdowns and make it 10. The fullback, Carson Meyer, touchdown OU. Just one catch all season for Carson Meyer. That was last week for 32 yards. This one goes from 11 and a touchdown.
Well, just coming around the horn there, they just get lost. He gets lost in the shuffle. They're thinking it's run, and Meyer slips right between the linebackers, unaccounted for and untouched. The Black Knights had a couple of errors on that net secondary. It's got to get tightened up, and this could be a huge blowout.
Austin Seibert with the extra point, and it is 7-0 Oklahoma after the opening drive, which didn't take long. 2 minutes and 40 seconds for the Sooners to go from one end of the field to the other. Didn't even face a third down on that drive.
He's kind of almost a dual threat type guy, but this offense is impressive. What they do, this obviously is a triple option offense, and you're going to see a lot of variations of what they do, how they block. We'll talk about it. It'll be fun to watch and see how the Sooners defend it.
They give us to Darnell Woolfolk, the fullback. He piles through, picks up 7 yards on the play before running into Kenneth Murray. Here you see Kelvin Hopkins Jr. listed at 5'10", 205 pounds out of Independence High School in Charlotte, North Carolina. You don't often see a quarterback leading their team in rushing after 3 weeks of the football season. Both of these teams' quarterbacks are their leading rushers.
That's exactly right. They've both done what they needed to help their teams win.
Big win last week for Army at home against Hawaii. As again, it was the fullback Woolfolk.
Yeah, this is what Army wants to do. They want to get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 yards on first down. Take second down across the sticks and move the sticks along. It's going to be close to a first down here. Let's see where they spot this football. When they put it down, it's going to bring up third down and just inches here. But they want to stay on schedule. That's definitely what an option team wants to do. Don't rely on passing that football. They're definitely want to rely on that scramble block offense that they have and getting on those defensive linemen who are going to have to get those linemen who are used to doing this type of blocking off of them, which is a little bit challenging, I think, for the defenses. We looked at Neville Gallimore there, number 90. He's right in the heart of things, so he's going to be in the mix all night long.
D-line was a strength last week against Iowa State. This is 3rd and a foot, and they've got plenty to move the chains here.
Yeah, you see Oklahoma. They actually had like 5 defensive linemen in a down position there. I don't think that's atypical for a defense to do that against this type of offense, and we'll see that a lot more this evening. Different ways. We talked to Mike Stoops, the defensive coordinator from Oklahoma, about how they're going to defend this triple option attack, and he said, you know, we just got to change it up. We'll go 3 down, 4 down, maybe 5 down, which is what we saw there, and I think that's going to be the change-up call here. But good drive here for Army on their first possession, and they get a quick first down. There's Mike Stoops in the middle of the booth there.
Defensive coordinator, of course, the younger brother of former head coach Bob Stoops.
Oh, boy, out the gate.
There he goes. Off to the races, Kel Walker. Down to the 40-yard line. Trey Norwood with the tackle after a 23-yard run for Walker.
But if you look on the right side of the defensive front, that's going to crash down. And unfortunately, there's a big hole there. Kelvin Hopkins becomes a lead blocker for his pitchback, which is pretty unique in that option attack. So good job there of the Army just being deceiving a little bit on how that ball handling works, and big play against the Sooners.
There are a lot of different players who are going to touch the football today for Army. All of them are going to line up in the backfield, as this is Andy Davidson, who runs hard and picks up 4 yards on first down.
Yeah, we're going to see a multitude of backs here come in and out of this ball game for Army. They run a lot of fullbacks in there. Davidson got the call that time, and they just do with a fullback, they do 3 things. They run, they block, and they repeat. That's all they do. They go into that line time and time again, and we'll see a lot of fullbacks in there. We'll see some other tailback and halfback types that are out there on the wings right now in this formation. It's interesting to see how this team determines how they'll go against the defense.
They give it to Connor Slumka. And again, he just runs right up the middle for a couple of yards. Here's tonight's Oklahoma Ford players to watch, Gary, and there's certainly some guys to keep our eyes on.
Well, Woolfolk there is the captain, one of this team leader, and he's a fullback, going to be in the action quite a bit, and Riley's going to have to do well on the defensive side of the ball. I think Kenneth Mann's going to be big here because he's going to be on the end, and he's going to have to read that option a little bit, understand, and then Bolton, with his tackling ability, and he's been around the ball all season, I think he's going to have a chance to be in on a lot of plays. So this is a little bit different test than what Oklahoma defense would normally see in a Big 12 contest.
The quarterback has it. He gets popped. Kelvin Hopkins brings it close to that line. Kenneth Mann delivered the hit, but he's a couple of yards shy on third down.
Well, I think Kelvin Hopkins makes a miss here. If we take it and we slow it down right here, we stop it right there. There's a commit inside. He should have pitched that ball. If you see, he's got the seal on the outside. Kelvin Hopkins here, this is a read. This is really his first year starting as a quarterback for this Black Knight offense. He'll learn to pitch that ball, and they'd have a big play around the edge on the Sooners.
Army going for it on 4th and 2. They're 9 for 10 this season on 4th down in the first 3 weeks. On the toss, Kel Walker moves the chains down to the OU 25. Needed 2 and he got 7.
Well, it's a pick your poison type of thing here for Oklahoma. You've got to find out where you're looking to come from. There's no pressure off the defensive inside, and everything gets on the outside. Army is just outnumbering the Sooners right now. It's just a numbers game. Get your blocks, get in front of people, and create open spaces for that pitch man.
8 carries in the football game for Oklahoma, 5 different ball carriers. Right now it's their big man, Darnell Woolfolk, team captain, lined up straight behind a crouched down Kelvin Hopkins. Hopkins still has it, brings it to the outside and turns the corner. Hopkins down inside the 20. Monty Bledsoe on the tackle, but an 8-yard pickup for Hopkins.
You know, you really never know what's coming. I played defense all my career, and I used to hate to run against the guy. But watch the quarterback. Look at him and how far he is down on the ground, almost touching the ground with his tail. You can almost cannot see him if you're a linebacker behind that center. Then he just takes it around the edge. Good blocking on the corner for the Black Knights.
There you go. 10th play of the drive for Army. Woolfolk trying to get to that first down line. He had to get to the 15. Might be a little bit short.
Well, I got to give a shout out to the old ball coach here, Barry Switzer, because I know that he's kind of smiling because this is what he used to run time and time again with his football teams in the 70s and 80s, and it led to the national championship for the Oklahoma Sooners. They know about this offense. Obviously, times have changed and the different philosophies have changed, but there's great storied history here with this type of an offense with the Sooners.
And the Oklahoma fans are well aware of this type of offense, but Big 12 defenses, not so much these days.
No, sir.
Connor Slumka
moving the chains again.
Just falls forward and gets the first down, and this drive continues for Army.
2 things here. They're converting on third down, so they don't have to go to 4th down to challenge them. They had the 1 4th down play, but most importantly for Army in this ball game, what are they trying to do? They're trying to continue drives and run the clock. Head coach Jeff Monken here, he knows that if his offense is out there, he's going to be able to, potentially have a chance to sneak a win out against these Sooners if they control the clock, control the tempo, which is what this offense is designed to do.
Certainly controlling the clock. This drive started with 12 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock. And they continue to pound it forward. That's Andy Davidson.
When we talked to Mike Stoops, we talked to him and he said, there's going to be probably a couple of series that we're going to need to get our, understand how they're deploying their running game against us and how we're going to have to adjust. It's kind of a chess game. It's you're going to do one thing one time one way and one time another way. But he's going to have to deploy his guys and have some conversations with them on the sideline to be able to understand how they want to attack and how they want to create penetration and disrupt this Army offense.
Kalen Holt takes it up the middle, crosses the 5-yard line, gets down to about the 4, which is where that first down marker is.
Yeah, if you seen every play here so far, Oklahoma is in kind of a catch phase. What I mean by that is Army is taking the line of scrimmage to Oklahoma and not the opposite. So there's been no penetration. There's nothing to disrupt the timing of this Black Knight option attack. I think Oklahoma's going to have to take some chances, maybe not here in the goal line area, but definitely out in the field to be able to create some opportunities to get them definitely off schedule.
Third and 1. Right through the middle is Darnell Woolfolk. Did he cross the goal line? They've got him just short. First down and goal for Army.
When we talked to offensive coordinator Brent Davis, he said, we're just going to do the same old thing that we do every single week, and that is consistently penetrations. And watch the fullback smash in the middle there. Great job by the right side of the offensive line. Peyton Reeder, number 76. Bryce Holland, the returning starter at center. They do a good job of cleaning out the interior of the Oklahoma defensive front. They're opening some holes for these running backs.
Bouncing off the pile is Woolfolk. He doesn't get there. Wrestled down by Kenneth Mann.
Yeah, Mann and Neville that time, they did a good job inside, being able to pile up that running attack and nowhere to go, and so just bouncing around. Woolfolk trying to break into the end zone. Mann does a good job of pulling him around. He comes off his block and makes a big play for a loss.
Bounce back a full yard is what they need here. They put the ball right at the 1 yard line on 2nd and goal. Kenneth Mann, the captain, made that last stop. Kalen Holt now the option, and Connor Slumka moves the ball forward. Touchdown! It took him a while to find him in the pile. Connor Slumka has the touchdown for Army West Point.
Well, Slumka had a rushing touchdown last week against Hawaii, and he's one of those fullbacks that's talented back there, and they'll use him in different areas, but this is an impressive drive by this Army offense. They have just kind of moved the ball methodically down the field, converting on 3rd down and 4th down to be able to get first downs and stay on schedule. Brendan, this is what they do. They eat up the clock and they score points.
9th rushing touchdown this season for Army. 3 of them belong to Slumka. And the Oklahoma Sooner football on Fox Sports is brought to you by Bud Light, game day's favorite lager. By your Oklahoma Ford dealers, the best in Oklahoma. And by AAA Insurance. At home or on the road, we've got you covered. 119th consecutive sellout here in Norman. The Black Knights march all the way down the field, taking 9 minutes and 31 seconds off the clock and evening the score. How do you compete with Oklahoma? You give their offense one crack at it in the first 13 minutes of the game. That kickoff bounces out of bounds, and that'll give that'll give Oklahoma some good field position here for their 2nd offensive series. Kyler Murray has another wide open receiver in Lee Morris, and Morris is knocked out of bounds inside the 30 by Max Regan. 38 yards on the first play of the series for Kyler Murray.
We talked about his accurate passing, and that's exactly what he does. Finds the open receiver, puts it out there for them, just delivers the ball, and run and catch, throw and catch.
Murray to CeeDee Lamb. Back at the 30-yard line, lost a couple of yards on that transaction.
When you look at both of these teams, Brendan, I think the thing that you have to understand, Oklahoma has much superior speed over this Black Knight defense, and they're going to be able to run and throw and catch in open space, and it's up to the Black Knights to kind of close the gap and make some big plays and not allow big plays. But I think that's going to be very, very difficult here because of the speed factor.
Inside of 2 minutes to play here in the first quarter. Murray in the shotgun with Trey Sermon nearby. Sermon started last week in place of the injured Rodney Anderson. He had a 22-yard touchdown run and averaged nearly 6 yards per carry. But this is Murray off to the races. Dips right on through for a few extra yards down to the 13-yard line. 16-yard pickup for Murray.
Now, 2 of the 3 things we've just seen here that he needed to do, and that is accurate passing, and we showed that on 1st down. 2nd down, able to run the football in the spread option offense. Kind of an option attack here from the Sooners, and a big run here by Kyler Murray.
Each of the last 2 weeks, Murray's had more than 300 yards passing and at least 65 yards on the ground. Last week, it was 77 on 15 carries. Trey Sermon to the 10. Stopped by Max Regan, the free safety, coming in to make the stop.
Well, Sermon's in there, obviously, and kind of heartbroken here for Rodney Anderson, not able to play. Knee injury that took him out of it, but he is the go-to guy now as a running back. Trey Sermon is going to be asked to carry the load in the backfield for the Sooners. They've got a couple other youngsters that are around him, but I think that Trey Sermon, he's going to have to come to grips with, I am the guy, and he's going to have to build on what he's learned and improve and make some big runs here for the Sooners over the course of the season.
He's just a sophomore, all Big 12 honorable mention for Offensive Freshman of the Year last season when he split it with Rodney Anderson. Murray with time. He's taking a shot towards the end zone, and that one in and out of the hands of Carson Meyer. They were looking to the fullback again. Caught the first touchdown pass of his career on the first series, and they went right back to him.
Good ball, good throw that time by Kyler Murray. Just could not come down with it. A little bit of coverage there from the inside out with the defender. Not sure if he got his hand in there. This is just a catch. He's turning around. Really difficult catch by Meyer, but good ball by Murray.
First incomplete pass thrown by Kyler Murray on his 5th attempt, and now Oklahoma will face their first third down. They've converted 19 of 33 this season on third down. And Murray looking at CeeDee Lamb. Touchdown, Oklahoma. Third touchdown this season for CeeDee Lamb.
Well, he did a nice job of pressing in on the cornerback, Bordeaux, and he got enough space, and Murray does a nice job of reading where he needs to throw it to the outside. A little bit of a press there when he picked up on it late. Watch the camera work here now. You'll see he's getting in the inside position, steps away for that ball that's thrown outside where only he can catch it. Good chemistry between Murray and Lamb.
Austin Seibert out for the point after. No problem with that. And it is 14-7 Oklahoma. Murray to Lamb. That's happened a few times. Bound to happen a few times more. Lamb, the touchdown. OU, the lead.
For second row, for sure.
This one is 51 seconds off the clock, and here we are in the final seconds of the first quarter. And the carries for Darnell Woolfolk. And he is swarmed. Curtis Bolton, big side linebacker, coming up to make the stop after just a yard.
Yeah, he's the leading tackler on the team. And, you know, a guy who's a senior, been around this program a long time, Curtis Bolton, did a nice tackle in the hole that time.
And that is how the first quarter comes to an end. Baker Mayfield in the house. Oklahoma up 14-7, but can they stop this triple option attack? Army 1 for 1 on their offensive possessions.
No doubt about that. It's not an easy task at all to slow this offense down. Let's see how they do in round 2.
On first down, the toss is to Kel Walker. And Walker stopped by Mark Jackson out at the 33-yard line, a couple of yards shy. Got 7 on the play.
Well executed by Hopkins. Comes around the edge, makes the late pitch there, and gets a good rush. Watch the lead blocker. Boom, right there, cut block. That's typical for this offense and very legal. Within 5 yards and downfield in front of the defender. So this offense is kind of gelling early and moving it against this Sooner defense.
It was Jordan Asbury who made that block. Kalen Holt looks like he stopped shy as the whole Sooner team piles on.
Looks like he got 1. They needed 2 on that. So going to bring up a 4th down here. It'd be interesting to see what Jeff Monken may do here in this situation. You know, they do go for it quite a bit on 4th down and short because they've got a lot of confidence in that offensive front and be able to get that 1 yard, tough yard, and we'll see how they what they choose to do. It looks like they're going to bring in some extra beef perhaps and stay on the field and go for this 4th and 1.
Bring in Darnell Woolfolk, their primary fullback, who's listed at 5'9", 235 pounds, going forward on 4th and 1 from their own 34-yard line. The pitch is to Asbury, and a huge lane for Asbury, the first down, and then he spins for some more. Out near midfield, knocked out of bounds at the 48-yard line.
Well, the Sooners all committed to a 5-down front. They wanted to take away the inside dive, which is what they thought. Look at all the Sooners in there, and the linebackers step up in the hole, and guess what? We're going around the edge. That's what they do, the sweep to the outside, and good blocking out front. Well-executed 4th down conversion.
That's Jordan Asbury. He's a senior. 2 catches against Duke in week 1. There's only 2 offensive plays that he's gained yardage on coming into this game. He's got some serious yards here to start this one off. 7 different ball carriers so far this football game for Army as Woolfolk takes it into OU territory. He's met by Kenneth Murray. Career high 10 tackles last week for the middle linebacker Kenneth Murray, who started last season as a true freshman. He was the first true freshman to start at inside linebacker for OU since 1975.
Well, they've needed to have some young players on the defensive side of the ball step up, and we're taking a look here real quickly at Brent Davis, the offensive coordinator, who's doing a good job here mixing up the calls and what they're doing against this defense. It's a back and forth thing. It's a guessing game, and it's an assignment game, and almost a chess match.
This is Sandon McCoy. And He will get across the 45-yard line, give him the 44.
Brendan, you're going to be tested tonight on the names, the numbers of everybody that comes in and out of this game for Army. They've run a lot of people through there, and it's going to be a challenge for you.
The depth chart is commonly referred to as a 2-deep. That's what they call it. However, when we got them from Army this week, they had five fullbacks listed. Brent Davis said, I don't know if we've ever had 5 guys that we can run in and out of the ball game. Here's another one, Caitlin Holt. Quarterback Hopkins on the late pitch. Connects with Kel Walker. And Walker has Army another first down.
Well, it's all accounted for. The line, the blocking is there. They're all man on man, and they do a good job of pitching, and then just watch as he fits right through the hole. Everybody's a hat-on hat right there, and then late into the hole. Then he got the inside-out help from the Sooners to get him on the ground. So good job by Houghton of coming across. Otherwise, that's a much bigger gain for Army.
So first down for Army West Point from now the Oklahoma 39. Woolfolk is swallowed up right at the line of scrimmage.
Almost a trap play that time. Bring a guard around, try to do something a little bit differently. Little delay option inside that time, and did not fool the Sooner defense. That was well defended.
True freshman Ronnie Perkins, the one who first got it, and there's a new crew coming in from the Army sideline. They like the substitute players. That's also how they call the plays. They bring the play with them from the sideline. Starts up top in the booth, down to the field, and then run onto the field. Quarterback Hopkins will keep it, side steps, and then is driven to the turf by Troy James after a 3-yard gain.
Yeah, true little bit of a veer option look that time by Hopkins coming down the line of scrimmage. No dive back, just kind of keeping things out in front of him, truly reading that defensive end into the outside, and well defended again by Oklahoma. So they got that part of it down. So this is what Army does not like, and this is good for the Sooners defense. 3rd and long, 3rd and 7, almost 8 yards here that they're going to have to get. Are they going to throw the football? Army is much improved in the throwing game with Kelvin Hopkins' throwing ability.
7th third down faced by Army. They have converted 4 out of the first 6. Penalty flag.
Number 5 at the top is going to be called for the motion, I believe.
False start, offense, number 1. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Fred Cooper is the guilty party. First penalty of the football game on either side.
You know, they don't throw the ball often, but when they do, they're very efficient. You know, they have 13 passes this season. That's the 4th fewest in the NCAA. But guess what? When they do throw the football, they have the highest completion percentage that leads all of college football. It's amazing. 23 yards per reception on only the small number of samples that they've tossed in the air.
3rd and 12. What is normally a running down, it's Glenn Coates, and he won't make it. They try to get Coates coming back against the grain. Stopped short, well short on 3rd down.
Well, you're going one way and trying to commit the defense to the other. Just too much speed here from this Oklahoma defense, and you see having to make him change direction. Everything kind of shut down that time and unable to move around well enough to get a little deeper in the secondary. So now 4th and long. Again, not something that Army likes to have in a long yardage situation. And really one here, it's definitely outside of their field goal kicking range. So
a little confusion on the Oklahoma sideline before 4th down and 8 for a team that hasn't thrown the ball yet in this football game. Last week, Hopkins threw it 10 times. He's thrown it 38 times this season. 18 completions, they'll talk about them using it more, is only 2 shy of how many completions they had all last season.
38 times in the air. I think that Kyler threw it in the half last week. So
3rd, 4th down for Army. They've converted the first 2.
We got a timeout here.
Just before they took the snap, Army has taken a timeout. They're going to think about this one a little bit more. 4th and 8 from the OU 37 when we come back.
But Baker is there, and he's there to play.
After the timeout, they're still going for it on 4th and 8. Back to pass is Hopkins. Lots of time. Someone to throw to. Kel Walker. Conversion on the first pass of the game for Army. 13 yards and a first down.
Well done that time. Kelvin Hopkins had a little pressure in his face, but he had to wait for his receivers to come open. And this is a crossing route all the way across the field. Look at the delivery on that ball with pressure in his face. That's a big-time throw by the quarterback. Throws it out there, and he gets pressure and smacked by this defensive line. No doubt about that he took a big hit from Amani Bledsoe.
Drive continues. This is the 12th play of it. Woolfolk stacked up at the line and driven backwards. They'll give him a yard on the play. Mark Jackson made the tackle.
Yeah, rolling some guys through here on the defensive front here. Those other guys coming in, I'm seeing how they're deploying in this Oklahoma defensive front, trying to get some fresh guys in there because this offensive attack just keeps coming. And you know, when Jeff Monken went to West Point, and he's been there now for his 5th season, he kind of had to flip the mentality and understanding of how to get these guys to play this type style of offense and commit to it. He's got a lot of buy-in, and he's had the most wins the last couple of seasons than they've had in recent history.
Walker on the pitch. A good stiff arm, a flag flies. A good run there along the sideline by Kel Walker. Stopped by Kenneth Murray, but we'll have to check on the penalty marker. There's only been one penalty in the game up to this point.
Holding, defense, number 91. Half the distance to the goal, penalty from the end of the run, first down.
Dylan Famatau guilty of the hold. And that's a costly penalty against Oklahoma.
That's different. You know, a defensive lineman typically is not going to be called for an interior holding penalty, so not sure we were able to find that hold, but regardless, Army now set up well at the 7-yard line here with the fresh set of downs.
First and goal coming for Army. Jalen Holt in the backfield for Kelvin Hopkins. And it's Hopkins. Driven into the turf. Kenneth Murray. Helped out by Khalil Houghton. They both got him after a yard.
Good job that time reacting on the defense, and the linebacker just flowing, coming up there, and Kelvin Hopkins trying to kind of get his team going the right way.
So after just a yard. Second and goal from the 6. This is play number 15 on this drive. Hopkins. Pitch wasn't there. He had to keep it. He got to the 5. Another yard picked up.
Well played that time by Oklahoma. They had a hat on everyone that they needed to, which is assignment football when you play defensively. Take a look here. They're going to take on the blocks, get on everyone, and nowhere to go there as the quarterback pulls out looking to get around the edge, and good game tackling that time. So third down here, 5-yard line, and are they going to toss the ball, run the ball? They've done both. So on this drive at least.
Army's only converted one of the 3 third downs they faced on this drive, but they converted the other 2 on 4th downs when they needed to keep the drive moving. Hopkins faked the pitch, and he'll get into the end zone. Kelvin Hopkins from 5 yards away, touchdown Army. He sold it, didn't he, Gary?
Well, he sold it, and also the alignment by Army was the first time that they did this year. Take a look here. They've got a tackle over alignment, which means that they reduced the tight end on the far side with an extra lineman on this side, one more than the Sooners could account for. And the great fake here by Kelvin Hopkins does a nice job of, hey, there you go. No, I'm not going there. I'm going inside, young man, and into the end zone. So excellent drive again here by Army against this Oklahoma.
Both were 6 plays. First one 2 minutes and 40 seconds. The second one 2 minutes and 36 seconds. Very different from what we've seen. And a chance to return for Brendan Radley Hiles. Hiles to the 30. And then he got popped at the 34-yard line.
To account for all of the West Point offensive linemen.
Kyler Murray is going to load it up and find an open receiver, A.D. Miller. 14 yards and a first down.
Yeah, A.D. Miller was one of the players that Coach Riley talked a lot about. He said he thinks he's coming on. He's going to be another good part of that stable of receivers for this Oklahoma Sooner bunch. You got CeeDee Lamb. We know what he can do with the big hand, with the great catches that he can make. And then obviously with Marquise Brown taking the top off of the defense, they're looking for him to be a great complementary receiver.
Lamb and Brown coming into the game, 31 catches and 5 touchdowns. The rest of the wide receiving group, 28 catches and 4 touchdowns. This is the running back, Trey Sermon, trying to fend off a tackler, driven out of bounds on the Army side of the field after a 4-yard gain.
You know, I do think the Oklahoma running attack changes just a little bit without Rodney Anderson. And what I mean by that is these backs that they do now have in their backfield, they're able to run out there, they're not as big and powerful. So going to be a lot more stretch type running, a lot more plays at the outside. I don't think they're going to have as much power game up on the inside, but we'll see how that unfolds throughout the rest of the season.
Sermon stays as the option in the backfield for Kyler Murray. On play action, a bullet reaching behind him was Grant Calcaterra to haul that one in. Another chunk taken up 15 yards before Max Regan made the tackle.
Well, this is a pinpoint pass, and Kyler Murray does a nice job of reading it. Calcaterra, he knows he's going to have him on a quick little inside slant there, right over the linebacker's head, and bingo, good throw and catch between he and Murray.
Calcaterra trying to pick up as the tight end, replacing Mark Andrews, now a member of the Baltimore Ravens. The team last year that was a play away from playing for a national championship. Kyler Murray with loads of time. He'll just take off. Kyler Murray showing off the wheels. He'll take it. Touchdown. If you give it to him, he'll take it. 33 yards.
Well, I said at the top of the show, I think he can be the most dynamic football player in college football. And what he does, throwing the ball as accurately as he does, but when things break down, he has this ability, and it's explosive. And when he makes a move, he can get that motor moving. I tell you, great job by Kyler Murray exploiting the defense with a big touchdown.
Austin Cyber comes out for the extra point. And Oklahoma, 3 possessions, 3 touchdowns, 21 points. Kyler Murray doing it with the legs this time. Oklahoma back on top here late in the second quarter. And put it through the uprights.
Yeah, I think they'd be happy to run the clock out without even scoring because they know they're going to get it to start the third quarter. So Oklahoma elected to take the opening kick, so it's going to be back with Army to start the third.
Once again, here's Christian Stecker.
Well, guys, since Lincoln Riley arrived in Norman 4 seasons ago, the Sooners are 37-6 overall, averaging almost 50 points a game, which ranks 10th in the nation over that span. And great coaches install game plans to beat you from the opening kick. And coming into this one, Oklahoma had outscored their opponents 149-62 in the first 30 minutes. Riley won 12 games a year ago in his debut as head coach, and guys, expectations just as high this season.
Yeah, look at those leading since 2015, since Lincoln came here. Excellent offensive coordinator. He tweaks things to fit the capabilities of his players. That's a mark of a good coach.
43 games since he has joined OU staff. 38 of those have scored at least 30 points. Kelvin Hopkins takes the carry for 7 yards on first down, met by Kenneth Murray.
Yeah, that's a positive first down for Army. When he gets 7 yards from the quarterback on a keeper and around the edge, still on schedule here. And now, you know, with second down and fairly short, that's maybe where they try to do a little pop pass. The secondary's got to keep their eyes on the ball, though.
Only thrown the ball once today. Woolfolk on the carry, stopped by Curtis Bolton.
I think he's going to move the chains here, gets over the 30-yard line, so
they're going to put it down right at the 35-yard line, and that should get him the first down.
Yeah, look at the defensive front there, just trying to hold up, and fullback just finds a way through there, gets to the 30-yard line, 35-yard line for a first.
Pitches to Kel Walker. Walker with speed. First down, knocked out of bounds right at midfield by Brendan Radley-Hiles.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what Oklahoma did to prepare for this ball game. You know, they actually did all of this. Some of this they worked in training camp, and and actually in 2 days and sometime, and they did a little bit this week, but they could never get to emulate the speed of what Army does this. So they used a wide receiver, walk-on wide receiver, to be quarterback to run this show, and they just weren't able to see the speed that Army can do this with and the precision. And Army's having their way right now.
Yeah, that scout team quarterback Spencer Jones, a walk-on wide receiver. You can't exactly have your guys learn the triple option, detail that Army runs it, and certainly the precision that they operate with. Kalen Holt on that last carry, then jogs off the sideline. There he is. There's Spencer Jones.
He gave the good little look. But this is a little bit faster look. I'm pretty much pretty sure of that, of what they're seeing on defense right now.
2.5 to play in the first half. Hopkins sidesteps a tackler, gets another first down. Kenneth Murray gets another tackle, but Army continues to move the football.
Good job of reading down the line of scrimmage that time by Hopkins, and instead of pitching it because Oklahoma had the pitch covered, he just does a nice job of just reading it and sneaking in there and eluding the first tackler to get the first down. Plenty of time here for them, a couple of minutes to go, and they still got their timeouts. Excuse me, they've got 2 timeouts left.
On first down, they fake the pitch, and they're going to pass. Taking a shot towards the end zone, just overthrown, intended for Jatiel Klein.
Well, that was good coverage in the secondary by Houghton because he's back there with them. A little play action here. Come off of this and try to leak one out here in the backside, but no worries. That was well covered in the secondary. They were alert in the secondary for Oklahoma.
Hopkins was a spread offense quarterback in high school. They had to train him. They usually have to train the quarterbacks that come in. You don't exactly get to go out and recruit an option quarterback. They like to. But a lot of times they look at the basketball court. Brent Davis telling us this week that they like to recruit point guards. They usually make pretty good option quarterbacks because it's about the decision-making and the ball handling when it comes into play for the quarterback.
It's all about the handwork and the hands and what they're able to do, both on the option and then also having the ability to distribute the football, whether it's on the pitch or the handoffs. And in this case, throwing the football. That's a plus that Kelvin Hopkins brings because he's got a very accurate and good, strong arm that they can work with. And the routes that they typically throw for Army are somewhat deceiving because you're so committed on the defense to stopping the run. Typically, you're going to have some more wide-open receivers, and that's what we've seen early in the season for Army, which is why they have that big number for the yard completion percentage and yardage per catch. But well covered that time in the secondary by Oklahoma.
Brent Davis says the best attribute for his quarterback, Kelvin Hopkins, that he's a winner.
Yeah.
Likes that the best. That determination.
Yeah, last week he had a pretty good week. He led the team in obviously passing 162 yards and ran the ball well. 110 yards rushing and a couple of scores. So Kelvin Hopkins is a complete quarterback, and he's a good fit for this system, replacing Ahmad Bradshaw.
And the junior. Pitch it to Kel Walker. He's been their best rusher today, but this time he's driven backwards by Amani Bledsoe, lost a yard.
Well, Amani Bledsoe shows his athleticism, and watch him kind of adjust. That's number 72 right here, and he's going to come out here to the outside with the running back, and come out to the sideline. You don't think that big guys can run? Amani Bledsoe can very, very well.
6'5", 287 pounds on the move for the second-year starter. Mike Stoops telling us he's a great run defender, really good with his hands. You saw him get to the edge there. First third down of the drive. They're going to throw. Had to get rid of it. Hopkins throws it up, and it's incomplete, intended for Jordan Asbury.
Well, Trey Norwood does a nice job of staying with Asbury, and at the very last second, this is a good throw by Hopkins, but Trey Norwood does a nice job of getting his hands in there at the very last second and unable to make the catch then for the Army receiver. So take a look here as Kelvin Hopkins, a little play fake here, throws back across the field. Thinks he's got a receiver, but Trey Norwood smartly underneath the receiver and makes a nice play, putting his hand up in between the receiver's hands and not allowing him to catch that football.
So the drive stalls out at the OU 43, so they bring out Zach Potter with C.D. Lamb back for Oklahoma. Potter's more of their placement punter. 2 punts last week, put them both inside the 20. This one will take a friendly Army bounce, and we'll have that one down at the 9-yard line. Nice punt by Zach Potter, leaving Oklahoma a minute and 28 seconds, but there is a flag on the punt.
During the kick, holding number 9, defense. Half the distance to the goal, penalty from the end of the kick. First down, Oklahoma.
Well, unfortunately for Army, 1 minute and 28 seconds is an eternity for this Oklahoma offense. And
Kyler Murray certainly operating at that pace today. 7 for 8 for 120 yards.
He's been impressive. He's distributed the football. He's run this offense well. He's done all the reads, and he's got the touch pass down, plus his leg work, and he does a nice job with his feet. So we've got Kyler Murray as explosive as anybody in college football, and just takes that into the house. So he's having a fun night, an explosive night. Every time he's been out there, he's led his offense to a score. So that's what your quarterback has to do here at Oklahoma.
Now over 2,000 yards in his passing career that started at Texas A&M, where he was as a true freshman. The pass complete to CeeDee Lamb, and Lamb bounces off 3 different tacklers and then knocked out of bounds, and a penalty flag comes in from 2 different places as Mike Reynolds knocked CeeDee Lamb out of bounds. Or perhaps he was already there.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 2, 15-yard penalty, first down.
James Gibson.
Right there, and watch. I didn't see it on the inside. There it is. Right there goes up to the face on CeeDee Lamb. Gibby, got you, sir.
Penalty backed up Oklahoma before they started this drive, and now penalty gives them some yardage back as it's first down from their own 22 and a minute and 20 to work with. Murray right over the middle, and Lamb unable to adjust.
Yeah, the ball thrown behind him, so Lamb tries to reach back to grab it. Kyler Murray on kind of a dead sprint there to the open side of the field. Watch the play fake here going across with Sermon. Then he goes out, and CeeDee Lamb right across the middle. Just doesn't lead him. He throws it behind him, and it'd be almost a circus catch if he was to pull that one in.
Well, from 10 games and 4 starts in his college career, completing more than 71% of his passes, more than 1,200 yards as well for Kyler Murray through the air. He sets up here. He's got time. Gets rid of it. Long ball just out of the reach of Marquise Brown. He may have gotten a hand on it, but couldn't bring it in.
Well, that's what we've seen close the gap, all the time here. Marquise Brown has done a nice job always trying to run under those, catch up to those long throws here by Kyler Murray. This one just a little bit out of reach, but good blocking up front, good clean pocket there for Kyler Murray to step up into, but unfortunately Brown unable to get that extra step needed to pull that ball in. Oklahoma's not pulling away here. They're trying to get this thing moving. They want another score before half.
It's the second third down Oklahoma has faced today. They're 1 for 1. Meanwhile, Army 5 for 9 on third downs here in the first down. Murray with an empty backfield. He gets buried at the 10-yard line by James Nautigal. He came unblocked and picks up his second sack of the season.
Nautigal's a sophomore, played a little bit last year. Impressive for them. Now he just shows it's a delayed blitz. It's exactly what it is, and so everyone's accounted for, but he takes off. Count 1,001, 1,002, delayed blitz comes. I don't think that Kyler Murray saw him coming, so unabated to the quarterback with a big sack.
And so a timeout taken by Army with 56 seconds to go and an opportunity for them to get the ball back here before half. 9-yard loss on the sack for James Nautigal. Young man on the Nagurski Award watch list. 18 tackles leading the team coming into the game, 12 of them solo tackles. He led the team last year, 103 tackles. He had 19 more than anyone else on the team a year ago.
Yeah, he was impressive. He's a leader out there for him and showed up big there at the end of this first half, right when they needed a big play. As he talked about here, Brendan, Army's going to get the ball back potentially with a chance to do something with it, either on the punt return and or with the offense. First punt of the ball game.
Austin Seibert, who does it all for Oklahoma. Kickoffs, punts, field goals, extra points. Big 12 specialist of the week. Waits a yard or two inside his own end zone. Flag thrown as the punt is caught at the 45 of Oklahoma. And Army jumped, but they needed 10.
Well, I think you take the penalty and kick it again. That wasn't a great punt by Seibert.
Defense, number 44, lined up in the neutral zone.
Yeah, that was
5-yard penalty, replay, 4th down.
It was only a 32-yard punt.
The benefit of it was 32 yards, and get another 5. Give him a chance to put a little more foot into that ball, and also take a couple more ticks off the clock. They lost a few seconds on that punt exchange, so here you go again. So you could probably wind this thing down to halftime. Jeff Monken, I'm not sure what he's going to choose to do with his offense when they get the ball back here on this punt. My thought would be that they'd probably just try to pop a run through there and see what happens.
Seibert averages 42 yards per punt. Had a 53-yarder last week against Iowa State on the road, and he just got that one away. This is a much better punt.
Well, actually, it's kind of wobbly and short, but they might get a little better field position. Oklahoma did across midfield that time.
Cost him about 9 yards because of that penalty. Best starting field position in the game for Army. Less than a minute to work with, and Kelvin Hopkins keeps that football and gets 9 yards as we're inside a half a minute to go.
Yeah, a little hurry up here. They're not going to just call a timeout. They're going to get hurry up and run a play. Clock is still running.
All out of timeouts here for Army. And Hopkins will throw it out of bounds. He thought he would have a little bit more time than that, and he turned around, and there was a Sooner standing waiting for him. Kenneth Mann came in, and as soon as Kelvin Hopkins turned around, he had to throw the football.
Well, this offense isn't designed and built to work with a passing game in mind, because they just don't have the receivers, and typically they're not going to work on the types of pass protection blocking with their offensive line that's going to work for them. But they do it in limited circumstances as they look like they're doing here from the shotgun.
On 3rd and 1, they'll run it. Hopkins will get the first down as the clock runs down to 6 seconds. Curtis Bolton, the tackle.
And stop the clock on moving the chains, and they'll reset it here. And
taking a shot. Kel Walker. Kel Walker, did he step out of bounds before we hit 0? He did not. That'll be the final play of the first half. For breakfast at 6:55 in the morning. No, exactly right. A different experience for the Army West Point Cadets as opposed to most of the other college football programs. As
let's see right now what adjustments Oklahoma's defense has made to stop this Army offense. Now reduced right there.
A lot of movement, and flags come in, and hit in the backfield was Kelvin Hopkins by Ryan Jones, but 3 different flags thrown on the play.
You heard me talking.
Illegal shift, Army. 2 backs were moving at the snap at the same time. Penalties decline, 2nd down.
Well, the backs were moving, but you hear me talking reduced. What I mean by reduced is you're taking a defensive end line of scrimmage. Watch them. They're going to move down inside. The defensive linemen are coming down for Oklahoma inside to take away those gaps. And that's a little adjustment that they're making to take away those quick hitters that Army's doing with that fullback.
They declined the penalty because the result of the play was a 4-yard loss. So 2nd and 14 for Kelvin Hopkins and Army West Point. Darnell Woolfolk, the 4-back. On the option. Kel Walker steps out of bounds at the 24-yard line, a pickup of 3.
Yeah, back to the original line of scrimmage, and good job, I think, by Oklahoma, kind of taking away the inside game and then allowing the linebackers to flow and getting out there to the outside and That's pretty well defended that time. So a couple of downs here, you're seeing that Oklahoma's making some adjustments to take away the inside run game and then rallying to the football on the outside.
Oklahoma a chance for a 3-and-out here to start the second half. Crowd trying to help them along. Third and 11. They're running up the middle, and Oklahoma comes up with a big stop to set the tone for the second half.
Well, Kenneth Murray and Curtis Bolton, they've been tackling machines. In that first half, Kenneth Murray had 14 tackles as a linebacker, and Bolton had 10 himself. So they had 24 out of 36 plays they were in on the tackle, and shows up there again. So Kenneth Murray having a big night there for that Sooner defense, and he's all around the football.
Only one punt for each team in the first half. And the second half starts with a punt in the direction of CeeDee Lamb, who will back up and take it at the 26-yard line. And he makes it to about the 33. And Kyler Murray will get a crack here back on the field. 48-yard punt. Here's tonight's Riverwind Playbook, talking about Kyler Murray and what he's been able to do so far in the game. 8 for 11, 123 yards, a couple of touchdowns. That's through the air. He's also had 3 rushes for 40 yards and a long 33-yard touchdown run.
Yeah, just kind of picking up where he left off last week against Iowa State in that football game. Just a leader out there and getting things done for Oklahoma.
Last week, a 37-27 win over Iowa State in Ames, avenging last year's only regular season loss for Oklahoma. Of course, Baker Mayfield was the quarterback back then. Tonight, he's a spectator here in the house watching. Trey Sermon takes it out to the 40-yard line. 8 yards on first down for Trey Sermon. Sophomore who also had offers from Alabama, Ohio State, and Michigan, chose to come here to Oklahoma.
And he's a good quality player. There's no doubt about it. And it's his show back there right now in the run game. So Trey Sermon, hopefully he's going to stay healthy to be back there for Oklahoma and give them that running attack that they need to complement Murray in the passing game.
Murray lofting it for Marquise Brown, and that one was put up there and intercepted by Mike Reynolds. Just the second interception thrown this season by Kyler Murray.
Yeah, Mike Reynolds did a nice job just playing center field back there. Kyler Murray obviously not in sync with Marquise Brown that time, and an easy interception by the Black Knights.
Marquise Brown still without a catch in this ball game. Now getting awfully late for their biggest playmaker to be held off the sheet. As Kelvin Hopkins goes for 5 yards. Give him 6.
You know, the bigger plays in this ball game have come to the outside against this Oklahoma defense. So Kelvin Hopkins with that option attack, reading the defender on the outside edge and then getting the pitches occasionally. But around the edge is where they've made the most bigger plays in this ball game. The inside interior play, for the most part, Oklahoma defensively have taken away, big pops and big chunk plays that they can get from that fullback, which Army typically does achieve.
Go right up the middle to Andy Davidson, and he will get the first down for Army with a gain of 6.
Yeah, kind of a half wishbone look there. They go back to motion back to a full wishbone and come right back out of it. A lot of deceiving ways that they can run that offense, and it's interesting on what's going to come next because they're always changing things up, whether it's the running backs or where they're going or the blocking schemes from the offensive line. That's what this triple option does. It just kind of messes with your head, so to speak, as a defensive player. You don't know where to go.
First down for Army at their own 27-yard line.
Got to take a timeout, I believe.
Yeah, Jeff Monken was running on the field to call timeout for Army. 11 minutes, 12 seconds to go. Third quarter, Sooners still up 7. Played in 1946, 1959, and 1961. Those are the previous 3 meetings between Oklahoma and Army. That's Kel Walker. Gets out near the 30-yard line. Just a yard for Walker, who has been their most effective runner today. That was his 9th carry, closing it on 70 yards today.
Well, he and Kelvin Hopkins have done a good job of just in relationship on that pitch, and he's gotten the benefit of some good pitches and getting into those seams. So it's a speedy runner when he gets that ball in his hands.
Very different game plan this week, opposed to what we saw last week against Hawaii. Army with a 28-21 win over Hawaii. Kel Walker didn't carry the football at all. This is Kelvin Hopkins getting 3 yards before Kenneth Mann made the tackle.
Yeah, we talked about Kenneth Mann at the top of the show, trying to think that he's going to be big on the edge there to set the corner, take care of that option. Actually, look, when that quarterback comes around, he's going to be in the thick of it. And Kenneth Mann, one of the quality defensive ends in the Big 12 this season, and I think he's going to have a bright season. There's no doubt about that. He's got a lot of athleticism, and the skill is there, and he's a playmaker.
8th tackle in the game for Kenneth Mann. Mike Stoops called him Mr. Steady on the pitch. Jordan Asbury with room to run. First down, Army. Khalil Houghton limits the damage and a late flag thrown. A 13-yard gain, and the flag came in after the play was complete.
I wonder if they're going to call a blocking below the waist on a side player here. I'm not sure, but interesting.
Personal foul, offense, unnecessary roughness, number 22, 15-yard penalty, 3rd down.
One of the fullbacks, Kalen Holt, that will take away what was a 3rd down conversion, and Army will have to back up and try it again.
That was a big play. Watch 22 there. He's actually the fullback right now, so he's going to be a lead blocker here in this, and he comes around, and don't see where the penalty is. Not in this frame. It may have happened. Oh, there it is right there. He's blocking, and knocked him down unnecessarily as the ball carrier is going out of bounds. So unnecessary there by Kalen Holt.
And so they'll try 3rd down again. This is now 3rd and 10. Army 6 for 11 on 3rd down. And against any other team, you'd call this an obvious passing down. We'll see what Kelvin Hopkins has in store. He will throw on 3rd and 10. Lots of time. Can he find an open receiver? He can. A first down complete to Kel Walker. Walker got the first down that was brought back on the penalty.
Well, I promise.
He got this one for 14.
Yeah, so Kel, the route that he runs is kind of a circuitous way to get about 12 yards. And Kelvin Hopkins just has him come back to him and got a couple defenders out there, and he had taken them back, and then he just ran back towards the line of scrimmage, which is what he did to get that first down and catch. He just made himself available to his quarterback. Good protection that time by the Army line, not allowing those defenders to get to their quarterback. And pretty impressive pass blocking, so to speak.
Late pitch goes to Walker again. And Curtis Bolton sniffed it out, dropped him for a loss.
Now, good numbers that time that for Oklahoma defensively. They kind of scrape and they slide well to the outside. You see the inside linebackers flowing. They take the quarterback, and there's enough defenders there to make that play easily. Curtis Bolton, just another tackle on the night. He's having a big night.
It's number 13 for him. That one goes for a 4-yard loss. But if you're Army, their coaches talked to us about body blows this week. You just keep running after them and try and wear down these defensive players for Oklahoma and hope that as the game goes along, you can get a little bit more out of every play. This is Darnell Wolford. Kenneth Murray approaching 20 tackles. Stops that after 4 yards.
Well, Oklahoma, you see the large line splits here. Look at this split right here and right here. That is different than what they've been doing. So they're opening those things up to give their run game inside a little more leverage and inside running ability. Typically, they're not that wide, those splits. So that's another variation that Army is doing in this ball game to confuse the defensive linemen for Oklahoma and open up lanes for their running back.
3rd and 11. And Kelvin Hopkins Slides through and picks up the first down. It looked like he was surrounded by Sooners, and he comes out with 12 yards.
Well, what did Lincoln Riley tell us? That was the must in this ball game for their defense. They have to tackle. Can't block tackle. You can't throw a shoulder in there, and that's exactly what the defenders do from Oklahoma. There's just power bang right there, and nobody tackles and pulls him to the ground. So really a poor job there of wrapping up by the defenders from Oklahoma, not getting that quarterback to the ground. They had him bottled up to slow down and negate the first down, but a great effort by the quarterback, Kelvin Hopkins.
Tackling a problem last week against Iowa State as well. Quick play here to Asbury. Jordan Asbury with the wheels, trying to stay on his feet. And again, he probably picked up 4 or 5 yards after the first time he was touched. Parnell Motley finally ripped him to the ground.
Well, drive and determination, that's what is at the heart of this Army football team. And, you know, they're all playing together. They're all in a band, and they all do the same things. They're all moving forward. They're going to keep moving it forward. And that's what these running backs do with that effort, and that quarterback with his effort. It's just all throughout this football team. And Jeff Monken he's got to be proud of his guys because they've bought into what that teamsmanship is all about, and it's on display here tonight.
Slumka. They'll get another first down, and another play made defensively for Kenneth Murray. He had a career high in tackles last week with 10. He's about to double that.
My goodness, he's all over the field. You know, he's almost in on every single tackle, and he's a very rangy linebacker and a guy that they're going to need to have and play well throughout the rest of this season. And you know, they've had some great linebackers here at Oklahoma, and he looks like he's a guy that has the athleticism to be a good one as well.
12th play of the drive coming here for Army. This is Kelvin Hopkins to the 30. Give him 4 on second down.
Well, the clock continues to tick here, and, you know, it's kind of what this Army team does. They eat up time. You know, we've talked about that before. But it really is, you know, something that they want to do. They want to stay in a close ball game and stay on top if they can. If they can just continue to get drives and not make mistakes. The only turnover in this ball game was the one that was the interception by the Army defense of a ball that was, you know, not communicated well between Kyler Murray and Marquise Brown.
Wolfoot brings it across the 30. The drive approaching its 8th minute for Army. Again, the half started with a 3-and-out forced by the Oklahoma defense, their best defensive stand of the football game. And then after an interception from Kyler Murray, another opportunity for Army's offense to get back on the field. Mike Stoops doing what he can from up in the press box.
Yeah, he's up there doing it. He's trying to talk and think and figure a way out how to slow this thing down. And what he's needing really is to get a turnover. I think a turnover would be huge here for Oklahoma. If they could pull that ball out, get these guys off schedule, it would give them an opportunity to do what they needed to get the ball back to the offense.
Parnell Wolfoot, yard by yard, picking up 4 more this time, and he's a yard shy of the first down.
You know, Wolfoot is an interesting story because, you know, he's a running back and played linebacker in high school. He was a 3-time All-State linebacker. Now he's a fullback here and a captain of this team, and he's just one guy that they roll in and out of there, but a guy that they definitely can count on.
4th down doesn't mean a whole lot to Army.
No, it doesn't.
They're 3 for 3 so far on 4th down.
And they go over again.
The sledgehammer Wolfoot is in the backfield, but Kelvin Hopkins will take it himself and pick up the first down.
You know, one of the attributes that you want in an option quarterback is the ability to make the right decision. And I think that he's shown that he's done a nice job as we see a Sooner on the field.
No, that's Neville Gallimore.
Yeah, Gallimore down. And
that's not something you want to see. One of the big cogs in their defensive line, the nose guard.
Encouraging them, imploring them to just wrap up a tackle and finish the play. Definitely growing in year 2 as a head coach, guys.
Thanks, CT. They're trying to get a stop here on defense as Hopkins takes it to the 15, lunging a little bit more. Stopped by Mark Jackson, but a 7-yard gain for the quarterback.
Well, just clicking around here. They fake it inside here. Not going to give it to the running fullback in there. Takes it around the edge and cuts inside of one of the linebackers, and Bolton just overruns him just a little bit, but a good heads-up play inside there for the Sooners to negate a touchdown because there was nobody back there.
2nd and 3 from the OU 13. Hopkins tried to cut back. Curtis Bolton wasn't fooled. He'll just hang on to him. Let everybody else come in as well until the play is blown dead.
Well, that was set by the defensive end on that side. They're not allowing them to win that corner and that edge. So take a look here right in front at the tight end position, and that's where they kind of slow things down. And good job coming through there is Curtis Bolton to make that tackle. Yeah, he's imploring the fans get a little loud in here, which they can do.
Woolfolk gets the first down and trying to push for an extra yard. He gets down to the 6-yard line. Kenneth Murray is down. Now getting help back up there after making his 21st tackle of the game. First OU player since 1999 to hit that 20 tackle mark.
After the play, personal foul, defense, number 11. Half the distance to the goal, penalty, first down.
Parnell Motley not too pleased with the penalty called.
Well, you got to get your composure here, and that's what it is right in there, and that's where it is. Hitting him behind the head, and the official is right there going to call that and throw that flag in there. So he's got to have a little bit better temperament right there doing his job.
Why Motley was so hot is because that wasn't him. The referee did correct himself afterwards. Khalil Houghton, number 8, was the one that we just showed you.
Gotcha.
No wonder Motley wasn't pleased. But 1st and goal from now the 3-yard line. Touchdown, Andy Davidson and Army. On a drive that started a long time ago on an interception from Mike Reynolds. Army an extra point away from pulling even with Oklahoma.
Well, a very competitive drive that time by Army. Marched it down the field and just workmanlike. Everything that they did seemed to be just getting positive yards and positive outcomes, and the benefit of that interception you mentioned, Brendan.
And before the extra point, there's movement on the line.
False start, offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty, remains the try down.
You know, this Army team came in here 2-1. You know, they started out with Duke, and they didn't play very well, from Jeff Monken, when he told us about in that game that they didn't play well. But Duke has turned out to be a very good football team this season, so that is the quality opponent that they've had. And how well they won the last 2 weeks, especially against Hawaii last week, shutting down a powerful passing attack offense. It's pretty impressive.
Scoring drive. To put that in perspective, Oklahoma ran 20 offensive plays in the first half. That was a 19-play drive. Took 10 minutes and 47 seconds. That's nearly 2 minutes longer than OU has had the ball in this football game. Ridley Hiles from the 5-yard line. Trying to cut upfield, got to the 20, and then got sandwiched. This game, we haven't yet started the 4th quarter. There's a carry for Trey Sermon, and Sermon dragged down by the foot by Max Regan.
Good hold that time on the right side of the offensive line for Oklahoma. Sermon kind of picks his way through there, gets 7+ yards.
Sermon joined in the backfield by true freshman TJ Pledger. This time it is Sermon again. Sermon gets out to the 44-yard line. Trey Sermon starting to get going. Elijah Riley on the tackle, but a nice big hole.
Yes, it is. I think the defensive end stepped out. They thought he was going to have somebody come loop underneath him, but good job of reading that by Sermon, getting inside of that block and making a big play.
It's a 17-yard carry for Trey Sermon. This time they'll throw it to Pledger. TJ Pledger picks up the first down. Tackle made by Jalen McClinton. But the true freshman TJ Pledger gets 12 on the catch.
Yeah, it was free. It was a man free that time, which means they had defense defensively. It was playing man coverage with one free safety, but nobody accounted for Pledger. He was unaccounted for, and that could have been a much bigger play for Oklahoma.
Sermon finds some space, stumbles, and stays upright to the 20 before he's knocked out of bounds by McClinton. 23 more yards for Trey Sermon.
He's finding the holes in his offensive line, is making some holes for him. You see the good blocking in there, the benefit for Sermon and running, and he just stays on his feet, unable to get him down to the ground, and McClinton having to come over from a safety position and knock him out of bounds.
And time will run out on the third quarter. Trey Sermon starting to get going. Oklahoma trying to march right back down the field and take back the lead.
Oklahoma starting to run the football now, keeping their offense on the field, not as quick as they've been their previous drives, and I think it plays to their advantage.
You almost have to run the football, give your defense a break at this point. Sermon starting to get rolling here on this drive. He's got 84 yards on the ground in the game, 46 of them on this drive in his last 3 carries. They'll feed it to him again. Sermon looking for more. Inside the 15, down to the 10-yard line. A powerful run by Trey Sermon goes for 11 yards.
And you can tell when a player's feeling it. He's feeling it right now, that he's got a pretty quick step right now, and he understands that he's got the moves to make and power football. It's all coming to him right now. Trey Sermon's having a good night.
Oklahoma knocking on the door from the 10. Give it back to him. Down to 5. Sermon now the featured back after the injury to Rodney Anderson, who suffered his 3rd season-ending injury in the last 4 years. And they're going to ride Sermon. He's the only running back who has carried the ball today. Now at 100 yards on the day, divided between his 13 carries.
Well, they don't have that many opportunities offensively to carry the ball. They haven't had as many plays, so we're just about 30 plays here for the Sooners.
Sermon tripped up at the 1.
Good hold that time across the right side. Just a quick handoff in there, and Sermon reads it in there, and Murray just reading it across. Got a fly man in front of him, and good job by the offensive line, just manhandling this a little bit undersized but powerful, I think, Army front 4.
3rd down and goal from the 1. They bring in a lead blocker for Sermon, and Sermon is just short. Just short.
Try to go big package, heavy from the outside, almost an I formation, and powered in there. Good penetration and getting low by the Army defense. Getting under the pads of the offensive line of Oklahoma. So here we are on 4th down and short. Little indecision there on the Army defense, substituting the player, but they've been squared away.
4th and goal from the 1 for Kyler Murray in Oklahoma. Trey Sermon into the pile.
Not going to make it. What a goal line stand here for Army on the road at Oklahoma. 4th and goal, can't get it in the end zone.
First time all season on 15 trips into the red zone, Oklahoma comes away with 0 points. And they'll just push it forward with Kelvin Hopkins, trying to get a little breathing room between the ball and the goal line.
Yeah, it's a smart play there. Just kind of move it forward, and that's what this Army offense does anyway. They're just kind of rooters down there, those offensive linemen. And we haven't talked a lot about that offensive line of Army, but they've only got one returning starter, which is their center, and that's Bryce Holland, number 65, who's the center. He's kind of the leader of that group. Everyone else they've only started this season, and they've come together pretty darn well over the last few weeks, and they've showed well tonight.
Hopkins will pitch it back into the end zone. Kel Walker gets out of the end zone and gets out near the 8-yard line.
Wow, a dangerous pitch. Almost never do you want to pitch it backwards towards your end line and towards your goal line. And this pitch is actually a little bit behind the fullback here. The running back catches it nicely, though, and just avoids the tackle. Good pursuit that time from the inside out by Oklahoma. Now they've got a chance to get a stop here of their own with 3rd and short, 3rd and 1.5 to go, I think, for Army.
Huge 3rd down here.
Yeah, they've got to get a stop here. Oklahoma does.
They go up the gut with Woolfolk, and he gets the 1st down. 235 pounds. The sledgehammer, one of the 2 sledgehammers that they can roll in there, and he just pounds his way through.
Watch the left guard there. Great block. Good push that time by Jackson Deaton. Young man from Frisco, Texas. Did a good job getting some room in there for the big fullback Woolfolk, and 1st down, and they're clicking again.
They rotate Woolfolk out, Andy Davidson in. And Hopkins keeps it. Runs into a slew of Sooners brought down by Curtis Bolton. Let's go down to the field. CT.
Guys, OU defensive end coach Calvin Thibodeau gathered his players on the end of the bench during the last offensive series. He's emphatic with them, telling them we're in a dogfight. Get off your blocks. Make the play. Tackle. Great energy from a great coach in a moment where they need it.
Thanks, CT. Oklahoma, 10-point win last week at Iowa State, and thought probably they had to work a little harder than they wanted to win that game on the road in Ames. They're certainly working harder than they wanted to tonight against Army.
Well, they certainly knew they were going to be in a dogfight last week. I think they might have thought they could have gotten a little bit of separation here offensively and defensively, getting a little more stops than they have, but Army has come in here and they are game right now. They've executed very, very well with this triple option attack. Kelvin has done a heck of a job at the quarterback position, Kelvin Hopkins. And, but you look at the Oklahoma defense, and Murray's done everything that he could. He's made every single tackle, it seems like, Kenneth Murray, and Curtis Bolton right there as well. It's just a lot to process, a lot to handle with all the different nuances that this offense has.
Murray's got 23 tackles, 1 shy of matching a school record. Andy Davidson trying to get the yard for a 1st down. It looks like it's close, but it looks like he has it. They will move the chains. 1st down, Army.
So what do the 1st downs in this game count here for Army in this ball game? It's impressive because they've just continued to move it.
That's their 23rd 1st down.
23rd 1st down, and so that continues to move the clock. It moves the chains. It is their best friend. And, we were talking about in the break that here tied up here, coming out of their goal line, this could be an exceptionally long drive if they just continue to go 1, 2, 3 1st down. Could eat off a lot of the clock here in this 4th quarter, which might be a challenge to Oklahoma.
One of their drives.
Rolling on the field, the runner made the line to gain. The play is under review.
Take another look to make sure that it is, in fact, a 1st down. But one of the drives, nearly 11 minutes for Army earlier in the game. If they were to run off something like that and end it with a touchdown, that would leave Oklahoma with about 2 minutes to play, down 7 points, theoretically, at home, trying to tie the score.
Yeah, taking a look again here to see where this runner actually is marked down at.
He's on a pile of bodies.
On a pile of bodies, which means he's technically not down, but where does the ball end up? So I don't think there's going to be anything there that's going to be able to change anything definitively where he did not make it. They're going to have to go with the ball, the play, what they have called on the field, on the placement. I don't think there's much more that we could show you to give you any kind of a different opinion of that.
Call on the field was a 1st down. It's a pretty quick review, and we'll
think they'll just stay with it.
Get our answer.
After review, the ruling on the field stands as called. 1st down.
Call stands. Chains move. 1st down, Army. The ball now on the 24-yard line after starting on their own goal line here on this drive. Army has been alternating their 2 big fullbacks in Woolfolk and Andy Davidson. It'll be Woolfolk after catching a breather on the timeout.
Believe it or not, this Army team is a young football team. There's a lot of young players that are out there, and win or lose here, coming into Oklahoma, going toe-to-toe with this big program late in this ball game.
This time, nowhere to run.
Well, I was about to say it's kind of a character builder for them, but I think that with Jeff Monken and his attitude, said we're not here to get attitude and have any build our confidence. We want to come in here and win. That's their mentality that they bring.
That's Brent Davis, offensive coordinator.
Got the towel out now. He's working it.
It's only 65 degrees. Actually nice and cool today. Couldn't tell from that shot. He's sweating. Pitch to Jordan Asbury. And Asbury with Kenneth Murray draped on his back. Gets the... All right, he's marked just shy of the first down, about a yard shy. Give him 6 yards on the play.
Well, Kenneth Murray has been all over the field, and the young man is just almost wore out. He's walking back inside, and just watch number 9 here straight from the inside out. He's the inside linebacker coming down the line of scrimmage, and he's just going to continue to play, and that's a big tackle coming inside out. He's about out of gas.
Well, that's a record breaker. That's his 25th tackle, a new school record. 24 had stood since 1965. Darnell Woolfolk still on his feet. There's a first down. Curtis Bolton approaching a school record territory as well. 10-yard gain for Woolfolk.
Well, take a look here. You're going to see this option right at you, and this is what Murray is dealing with. He sees the fullback there and just can't make the tackle. Bolton finally does get him down on the ground, but Woolfolk gets a nice gain here. This is a relentless attack. You got all these runners coming into the game for Army, and they're just retooling, and they're trying to keep more fresh bodies on the field.
And they roll in 5 different fullbacks. Kalen Holt in the backfield now. Late pitch into the hands of Holt. Right on the sideline, knocked out of bounds at the 46. 3 yards on the play for Holt. Talk about the young guys. He's not one of them, playing in his 40th career game here tonight. Played linebacker in high school. A lot of these fullbacks played linebacker in high school. Kalen Holt played linebacker for his year at West Point Prep. He's also the long snapper and the punter that year.
Yeah, and Kalen Holt, he's a versatile guy, obviously, and he's probably played a lot of football for this football team, and the guy that they know they can rely on.
Holt still in the backfield. He's from Hawaii. He enjoyed last week's
win. Yes, he did.
Proposed to his girlfriend on the field after the win against Hawaii. This is Kel Walker. And Walker stays on his feet for a few more yards. Finally down at the 41, courtesy of Mark Jackson. But another first down for Army.
Well, this is a precision offense here. Look at the quarterback, Kelvin, come around here, and he just does a nice pitch. As soon as the defender gets in front of him, Kelvin Hopkins pitches it out there. And Kel Walker does a nice job of continuing to run that football.
The clock continues to move as well inside 5.5 minutes. 12th play of this drive. Woolfolk stood up after reaching the 39 by Kenneth Murray. Kenneth Murray again.
And the clock continues to run here, but the official has stopped it. It was
ball came out. They ran it back for good measure, but ruling on the field that the ball where that Woolfolk was down.
They're going to get this thing set and
forward progress drew the whistles, and so the ball came out after the fact. And they give him just across the 40-yard line. It'll be second down and 7 to go. Andy Davidson straight behind Hopkins. And it's Hopkins. Took a pop there as he crossed the 35-yard line. 6 yards hit by Ronnie Perkins. True freshman. An Army All-American. St. Louis.
Something we haven't seen really from the Oklahoma defense is a blitz opportunity, a chance to kind of run through there and disrupt and try to do something either from the outside coming in or either from the inside, almost kind of standing and trying to just catch and receive this Army offensive attack.
No tackles for loss in the game for Oklahoma as Woolfolk will pick up the first down, getting to the 30. 5 more yards for Darnell Woolfolk.
And the clock continues to tick. We talked about this drive potential late in this ball game and what that may mean for Army and the total time left in this ball game. We're just about 4 minutes to go here in this fourth quarter. And excellent clock management, I think, right now by Army taking against Oklahoma. They're taking this down to the last second on that play clock because they're right now and potentially getting into field goal range.
They go on the pitch. And this time they stopped him back behind the line of scrimmage. Asbury was stopped by Parnell Motley, the quarterback, to come up for a 2-yard loss.
Good job seizing outside play. Motley does a nice job of coming back across the line of scrimmage and making a negative play, a good negative play and a needed one by Oklahoma. So getting the Cadets off schedule just a little bit here, coming up at 2nd and long.
Now the 4th drive tonight for Army of at least 15 plays. Hopkins jams on the brakes, and then he is swallowed. Mark Jackson, the first one on him. Oklahoma needed a couple of stops, and they've got him on back-to-back plays.
Yeah, a couple of negative plays there in a row. Taking that ball back, definitely out of scoring range here. Good job in pursuit here by Oklahoma. And you see Murray, who's played his heart out tonight on defense as a linebacker, makes another huge play for that defense.
Now you're starting to feel that home field advantage.
Yeah, the fans are getting into it here. Towels are rolling on the sideline. The fans are up, getting loud.
Oklahoma's won more Big 12 titles in the last 19 years than it's lost home games. The defense for Oklahoma trying to make a stand. 21 all, 2:23 to go.
Well, the fans are in it. They're trying to support their defense. A couple of defensive plays here made some negative plays for the defense. Backing Army up. So what does Brent Davis, the offensive coordinator, call here on 3rd and long with Army in the plus side of the territory? Throw it or run it.
3rd and 14. Back to passes, Hopkins. Hit as he throws. It's intercepted by Kenneth Mann.
Well, the 2 negative plays set this all up because they got into 3rd and long, and that's not a comfortable position for Army to be in offensively. Good job by the defense, tipping that ball. Big play by Mann coming up with the interception. The Sooners now have a chance to win the ball game.
Our score hasn't changed here in the 4th quarter. Number 5, Oklahoma and Army tied at 21. Here's tonight's OU Extended Campus play of the game. Dylan Faamatau knocked it up in the air. And Kenneth Mann comes up with a huge interception.
Yeah, big play here. Sets the offense up with a chance to go down and put points on the board and win this game for Oklahoma. I tell you, this has been a fight here between these two football teams, and I think it's going to go down to the end.
That interception was on the 17th play of that drive for Army that ate up 10 minutes and 6 seconds. Kyler Murray tucks it, runs, goes down to the 45, and then he took a heavy hit.
Well, you see the explosive capability of Kyler Murray. Things break down where he's not able to throw the football, and enough gaps there. Watch his hit he takes at the end, and that's a good shoulder contact up into the chin area there from the safety.
It's Elijah Riley who delivered that hit on Murray. Sermon now to Murray's right. And they'll give it to him. Trey Sermon gets to the 40.
Yeah, Trey Sermon's had a pretty good night here. He was probably approaching 100 yards or so here in this ball game, and really has come on here late in the second half, moving the ball down the field. They couldn't punch it in against this Army defense, but that last drive they had was a good long one with him with a lot of yardage.
106 for Trey Sermon. Most of them here in the second half. Clock running down to 1:20. Kyler Murray loads of time, nobody open. He's going to take off. Murray gets the edge, tiptoes out of bounds at the 31 after a first down. 10 more yards for Murray. We're down to 1:08.
Yeah, Murray just showing you that he's got the athleticism. The receivers are trying to get open for him, but no way to turn those shoulders around and throw that ball smartly, so he just uses his feet.
Oklahoma has 3 timeouts, but still 68 seconds to work with, and you would think 3 points could possibly do it, but that's not what they're aiming for right now. And they give us to Sermon. Sermon takes it on the ground, a couple of more yards.
Yeah, so if you're thinking, just position this thing down for a field goal, Oklahoma this season has only attempted 1 field goal. And guess what, guys? It was not through the posts. 0 for 1. So Seibert likely line up for a potential field goal unless they can get a touchdown. So on the sideline there, getting his leg ready to get in there and possibly win this game for Oklahoma.
On 2nd and 8. Little option for Oklahoma. Trey Sermon, first down, inside the 20. 11 yards for OU.
Well, Mr. Black Knight, you run the option. Guess what? We can do that too here at Oklahoma. They've done that a long time before. Trey Sermon with a nice pitch from his quarterback and gets a big gain there. So excellent job here of running this offense down for the Sooners.
Locked down to 22. First and 10 from the Army 18. For Kyler Murray in Oklahoma. And it's Murray off to the races. And he'll slide at the 10-yard line. There's a flag.
Oklahoma.
No, it's just, I think it's just a timeout.
30-second timeout.
Yeah, trying to preserve the clock here, and smart play that time by Murray of just sliding and not taking any contact and possibly avoiding a contact there. I misspoke earlier, folks. Seibert had missed a field goal in week 1, but last week, obviously, he put 3 through, so a little correction on our part. We apologize for that misinformation, but he has a chance here if they choose to kick a field goal, put it through and get Oklahoma a 24-21 victory, unless they put this ball in the end zone here with 15 seconds to go.
Seibert missed from 53 in week 1. His 3 field goals last week, 21, 31, and 42 yards were all good. He comes in as the Big 12 Specialist of the Week, and he may have an opportunity to win this game for OU. 15 seconds to play. 2nd down and 4. Kyler Murray hoping to keep Seibert on the sideline.
Yeah, one more timeout here for Oklahoma, so they can do just about anything, whether they're trying to throw it towards that end zone or run it, and kind of an open book here for them.
Murray will move to the middle of the field, take a knee, and bring out Austin Seibert.
They're going to take the clock down to call their last timeout, so the kick will be the last play of this football game. Stop it with 2 seconds to go.
And so a nail-biter tonight in Norman. Number 5 Oklahoma going back and forth with the United States Military Academy. Army was poised to go down the field in the 4th quarter to take the lead, but an interception from Kenneth Mann gave the ball back to Oklahoma and gave them this opportunity.
Yeah, Army came off of their goal line to get into Oklahoma territory, and then about the 30-yard line, 2 negative plays by the defense really are what kind of turned things around there. The momentum for the defense shifted, and then finally that 3rd down pass, which was deflected by Famatau to Mann, who was a receptor of that interception. That's what was the change of this ball game. And then the Oklahoma offense has just done what they've needed to do to move the ball down here to position it to win this game. And Austin Seibert out there with a potential game winner.
He's 76% for his career. The senior from Belleville, Illinois, from 33 yards for the win. Snap, hold, kick, and he missed it. It's the backup quarterback, Austin Kendall, while everyone else keeps their focus on the task at hand.
Are there any questions? Okay. We will have a coin toss. Heads or tails will be your choice. The winner of the toss will elect offense, defense, or end of the field. Okay? All right, your choice. What would you like?
Heads.
Heads is called. It is heads.
Defense.
Army's going to choose defense. Which end of the field?
Yep.
So the stage is set for overtime. Oklahoma had won the coin toss to start each of the 4 games this season, but they lose the coin toss in overtime, and Army will defend first.
Now that's what you do on as a football team. You win that, and you want to put yourself on defense, see if you can get a stop, or learn what you need to do to stay in the ball game, what your offense is going to be asked to do. So Oklahoma, I would expect nothing more than them just coming out firing, doing what they've been doing, running the ball well with Trey Sermon and or Kyler Murray. Good 1-2 punch there. The passing game has not been as automatic as I think Oklahoma would have liked it to have been in this ball game. They came out firing and firing it well, but it just didn't seem to materialize, and I think they made a conscious effort after the drives were going on to run the football more. So let's see what Oklahoma does here in overtime.
Each team will get an opportunity from the 25. Trey Sermon and Miles Tees in the backfield. This play doesn't happen as flags fly before the first play gets going.
Ball start. Offense. Number 5. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's Marquise Brown, who was held without a catch during regulation. Marquise Brown had 9 catches last week for 191 yards in the win over Iowa State. Nothing tonight from Hollywood Brown. First and 15 from the 30. The first play of overtime. Play action for Murray. And he's got a wide open Miles Tees. Did he step out? Touchdown.
Well, kind of a wheel route here by Oklahoma, getting a receiver unaccounted for off the outside. He starts in the backfield. Watch 87, comes up, kind of jockeys around. Then he gets behind the defender who's in coverage on him. That's Brinson. That's not even a chance to catch him. They're going to look at this and see if he went out, stepped out just near the 10-yard line. Watch his left foot right there on the sideline. That's what they'll review. But that was a nice play design that time. Tees kind of faked that he was going to block, and then just got around Brinson, who's definitely not as fleet of foot as he.
Miles Tees, the redshirt senior from Tulsa, transferred from Central Oklahoma. Does he step out with his left foot as he's stumbling right there?
Right there, I think that, you could make a case for it that there's white on white. The white part of his shoe on the white of the sideline. So we push into it there, and guys, I think that might be a called step out there on the 10-yard line. So may not like what you see here. Here's that step. We're on the big screen here with Oklahoma. You were seeing it on the scoreboard. They've got some different camera angles than we do, but similar shots that we've seen. So from what I've seen, I think this may be called out at the 10-yard line.
It was from 30 yards out. It's the first play of overtime that goes for a touchdown if it stands. And the first catch of the game for Miles Tees. But that pinky toe.
Well, it might have been the kind of the ball of the foot there on the outside of his left foot on that 10-yard line. It's kind of where we saw it. May have stepped out, but let's see what they say. Well, it looks like they're putting some things on the paper. We'll check it out.
After review, the runner stepped out of bounds just inside the 10-yard line. It will be first and goal inside the 10.
Well, nonetheless, it was a good play by Oklahoma because they had kind of shot themselves in the foot with the penalty to start that overtime. Now they're kind of back on schedule. 1st and 10 just inside the 10-yard line, but this is 1st and goal inside the 10-yard line because he was just inside of that line.
Which changes things. You're on the other side of the 10-yard line. There's a chance for a first down near the goal line. Oklahoma wanting to push this in after having the touchdown taken off the board.
I think Murray gives you a lot of options down here with his legs and his throwing ability. Look for him to show up big here with Oklahoma.
Trey Sermon in the backfield. CeeDee Lamb at the bottom of the screen. Murray. CeeDee Lamb. Touchdown.
Well, just good play design there by Oklahoma, and speed wins. Speed on the inside with an inside cut here after a fake. The defender not having a chance. CeeDee Lamb just runs away from him, and an excellent throw by Kyler Murray.
They ask Austin Seibert to come out and tack on the extra point, and he has no problem with that. Oklahoma runs 2 plays in overtime. Basically a touchdown on both. One of them counts, and now Army will have to answer.
Well, you just see how Kyler Murray just kind of very lackadaisically goes out there and executes, and that's the thing that's very impressive about him. You know, he's just kind of just the opposite of what a Baker Mayfield is on the field. Both of them great quarterbacks in their own right, but Kyler Murray a little bit more on the, you know, perhaps not as boisterous as Baker would have been in this situation. He'd be getting the crowd into it by now, and as we saw, he did Thursday night with that Cleveland Brown game. But Kyler Murray taking over the reins of this football team, and he has played well with his opportunities on the field in every game this season.
So now it's up to the OU defense. Army will continue to do what it does, and that is pound the football with the fullbacks. Darnell Woolfolk, team captain and senior, takes it for a couple of yards, maybe 3.
You know, their best plays for Army have come a little bit off of that kind of a sweep look to the outside as they get a lead blocker behind the quarterback, and then also a pitch man in that kind of a line coming around the corner. Let's see if they use that to their advantage over the next couple of plays here to see if they can get a chunk or 2 with some yardage to get a first down and keep moving. They have to score a touchdown here to match Oklahoma to continue this ball game.
2nd and 7. The option goes to Kalen Holt, but flags will blow the play down.
Before the snap, false start, offense, number 88. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
That was a good-looking play developing, too.
Yeah, and this is the kind of thing that absolutely kills this style of offense, because negative plays, penalties. Watch number 88 at the top of the screen. Just gets a little started a little bit early right there. And that's what they're calling, just a little bit of a jitter before the ball was snapped. Now they lose 5 yards. Tips them definitely off schedule. So 2nd and long here. The ball's not going forward, it's moving backwards.
Packed house tonight in Norman. Second and 12. Army trying to answer in overtime. Fred Cooper will throw it, and it's incomplete. Looking for Kel Walker, but Khalil Houghton stayed with his man.
Yeah, trying to be creative in how they pass the football. Instead of quarterback coming around there and making that throw, Kelvin Hopkins there allowing their speed back coming around Fred Cooper to try to throw that football, and wasn't a crisp throw, and the receiver wasn't open largely. So a couple of downs here now for Army to get a first down with 3rd and 11, almost 12 yards.
The 21st third down Army has faced tonight. They've converted 12 of the first 20. The pitch to Kalen Holt. Holt Lowers his shoulder, stopped at the 21.
Number 9 has showed up so much tonight for Oklahoma's defense. It's not even funny. Kenneth Murray just continues to go sideline to sideline, and that was him catching a more speedy running back out the sideline with a big hit. His tackle total is impressive. 28 tackles tonight. That is a new Oklahoma record, and that's going to rival some national records with his performance tonight.
Going back to the year 2000, no one in college football has had 28 tackles in a game. And 4th down in the ball game here. Time running down on the play clock. They're going to have to call timeout, and they will. Army is a perfect 4 for 4 on 4th downs tonight. But facing 4th and 7 for a team that doesn't throw the ball all that often or all that well tonight. Kelvin Hopkins, 3 of 7 for just 40 yards through the air, as Army is trying to answer the score from Oklahoma here in overtime, but needs 7 yards for the game to continue.
You know, this Oklahoma defense has been tested all night, and Mike Stoops, we talked to him about making adjustments and changes and so forth, and by and large, they've made the plays that they needed to, especially on those 2 big stops, those 2 big negative plays we talked about just before the interception that led to Oklahoma having a chance to win this ball game. It's pretty impressive that this defense has kind of been resilient still. It's a tough offense to defend and slow down. And I know as a defensive player, when the team is running the ball at you, it takes your heart out, and it's hard to overcome that. But Oklahoma has kind of found themselves and rejuvenated here in the 4th quarter and here in overtime.
This could be the game. A stop for Oklahoma means a win for number 5. 4th and 7. And another timeout. This time, it's OU. Well, you mentioned Kenneth Murray. I've mentioned him quite a bit. He's got a season's worth of tackles tonight. He's been all over the field for Oklahoma.
Kenneth Murray, number 9, he's been all over, as you said, and he's a guy that has just got a lot of athleticism. He's got great size and ability. And, in this type of a defensive system, he's really kind of built, really for off tackle, more different types of running attacks, because he can also cover the pass as well. But he's been asked to cover the run. For the most part, he's done his job and then some, with 28-plus tackles in this ball game, and we may have missed a couple upstairs here counting these things up. But congratulations to him and a great night.
28 total tackles, a half a tackle for loss for Kenneth Murray. We're not talking about Curtis Bolton, but he had 23 tackles as well. Remember, the school record for OU coming into the game was 24.
Yeah. Well, so Cade Murray on the defensive side and Cade Murray on the offensive side. Pretty good here for Oklahoma.
Not too bad. There's the other one.
Yes, sir.
But he's a spectator for this play. It's on the defense now. And it's on Kelvin Hopkins for Army. Do they have any more magic tonight? On 4th and 7. Hopkins will throw it. It's up in the air, and that'll do it. Intercepted by Parnell Motley. Oklahoma survives. Army pushed them to the brink into overtime. Oklahoma 28-21.
Well, it's not the norm here for Army to be throwing the football. That's not their strength. They're a running team. Good pressure that time by the Oklahoma defense. Throws an errant pass, and Motley comes up with the interception to negate any chance Army has to win this ball game in overtime against Oklahoma. Very, very difficult ball game for Oklahoma defensively to slow down a very game Army attack. But offensively, Oklahoma came out firing. They did what they needed to do, and that's exactly how they operate. The time of possession factor was huge in this game. Brendan, and Army kind of stole that thunder from Oklahoma, who's typically used to scoring very quickly.
Let's go down to the field. Christian Steckel with Lincoln Riley. CT.
All right, guys, thanks so much. Coach, what do you learn about your team in a victory like this?
Yeah, we're thrilled we made the plays at the end to win it. You know, we didn't play our best ball. Had some key plays in the game on all three sides of the ball that, you know, we would have had some separation. We didn't do it. We got into a dogfight against a really good Army team, but we found a way to win.
Yeah, it is difficult to stop this option attack. Talk to me about the resiliency of this defense, digging deep to win one more play.
Yeah, they hung in there. You know, honestly, after the first series, we played pretty well other than the fact that we just couldn't get off the field, especially on the long downs. You know, that's when you get those guys in that situation, you got to do a better job. But made some huge plays there at the end. Proud of our fight. We got to get better.
You gathered your team right before the overtime. You were emphatic with them. What can a win like this do for your team to springboard you forward?
Well, we've worked hard on these scenarios. Red zone and overtime, it's something that we take pride in as a team, as a program. We knew we were ready for the moment, and we came out and executed on offense, defense, and special teams.
Coach, every win is sweet. Enjoy this one.
Will do. Thank you.
Brendan?
Thanks, CT. There are emergency meetings all over the Big 12 tonight trying to teach the triple option going forward as they tested Oklahoma. They gave them everything they had and a tip of the cap to Army, but number 5 survives.
Army did a nice job of pulling things together in this ball game, and they just had the long drives, and they just continue to push. And execution was in their favor early in the ball game, but in the end, Oklahoma had enough power to win this ball game.
Well, Kenneth Murray still standing, believe it or not, after his night. He's with CT.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Brendan. 28 tackles, a school record. You have to go all the way back to 2000 to somebody in an NCAA football game played like this. How'd you get it done?
Oh, man, just looking at my teammates, man, fighting for them. You know, they kept me going throughout this game. You know, sometimes I wasn't at my best, and, you know, they just kept me going. So definitely, you know, my teammates, the way they play, where they came out here and fought, man, they fought their butts off tonight. I'm so proud of my teammates. I'm so proud of the defense. I'm so proud of the offense. Everybody on this staff, I'm just so proud of everybody. I'm glad we got the W tonight.
Hey, you got to level with me now. Have you ever been this exhausted after a football game?
Man, I've never been this exhausted. I mean, I played a lot of snaps tonight, so it's good, though. I had a lot of fun, and, you know, it's football.
This team is resilient. You guys proved that tonight. What can this do for you going forward?
Man, it just shows us how we have to fight through adversity. You know, we faced a lot of adversity tonight, you know, not being able to get them off the field early and stuff like that, and we still continue to fight. So, you know, just fighting through adversity is something that's big and something that we just got to do every day, every time we get on this field.
It was a lot of fun to watch you play. Congratulations.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
And we're bringing Kyler Murray, the quarterback for the Sooners. Kyler, congratulations, man. You're pretty stoic. I've covered you for a long time, going all the way back to high school. When you saw that field goal miss and you know where you were going to overtime, what was your first thought?
It's never locked in, you know. He's never guaranteed to make the field goal. So for me, you know, my head down, going back to work. You know, I think I did a good job tonight of staying calm and composed. I threw the one bad ball, which was unfortunate. But, you know, playing a team like Army, you never know how many possessions you're going to get. So you got to make the most of them. And, you know, luckily, we came out with a win tonight. Yeah,
build on that for me. What's the biggest frustration as a quarterback of a high-powered offense like this when you can't get the ball in your hands?
They just do a good job, and you gotta be really disciplined on defense. And I mean, I can't really speak for the defense because I know it's tough. I was saying all night, I don't know how you practice against an offense like this. I mean, it's option, it's fullback dive. I mean, it's difficult to stop. And you know, we stopped them enough tonight. So
they say adversity builds character. What can this win for you guys do going forward?
I think this is a critical win for us. You know, something that we've practiced all camp, overtime, you know, situations like this, and, you know, for the team to come out here and get the dub, I'm proud of the team. You know, it's a good win for us.
Kyler, you're a joy to watch. Congratulations. Go enjoy it.
Thank you.
Brendan, back to you.
All right, thanks.